The Hawks blew out the Bucks in Game 4 last night to even the series, doing so without their star Trae Young. Meanwhile, the Bucks may have suffered a bigger loss last night as Giannis Antetokounmpo hobbled off the court with an injured left knee in the third quarter. For more on the two-time MVP status, here's Malika Andrews.
Stephen A., as Adrian Wojnarowski and Zach Lowe reported earlier today, the MRI and imaging on Giannis Antetokounmpo's hyperextended left knee did not show any structural damage. But still, as they reported, there is no timetable for his return. But Mike Budenholzer, the coach of the Bucks, said that this was the best possible news, encouraging news that they could have received given how scary it was in the moment when Giannis went down. Now, he's officially listed as doubtful for Game 5. He hasn't been ruled out yet, but if he is unable to play, look at Bobby Portis as someone they could potentially lean on a little bit more and maybe even start, given the energy and offensive production he has given the Bucks in this series against the Hawks. Again, Giannis has not yet been officially ruled out, but given the swelling in his knee, I'm hearing it would be a little bit surprising to see him out on the court on Thursday. And for more on the Hawks injuries, here's Tim Bontemps.
Thanks, Malika. As the Hawks continue to prepare for Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals here in Milwaukee, the status of superstar guard Trae Young remains uncertain. Young, who missed Atlanta's Game 4 victory with a bone bruise in his right foot and a sprained right ankle, remains questionable for Game 5. Young made the trip to Milwaukee with his teammates and will continue to receive treatment. Hawks coach Nate McMillan said he once again expects Young to be a game-time decision Thursday night. Back to you, Stephen A.
When Chris Middleton has been on the court without Giannis, it spelled trouble for Milwaukee in these playoffs. ESPN's Basketball Power Index gives the Bucks just a 23% chance to win the title if Giannis were to miss the rest of the playoffs. Wilbon and Perk back in the house with yours truly. Depending on the severity, what impact could Giannis' injury have on the rest of this series, Wilbon?
I don't believe Milwaukee can win this series without Giannis being on the court. And I understand how good Middleton and Drew Holiday and Lopez and that cast, that ensemble is. Stephen A., he's a two-time MVP. And they struggle anyway. You know, I've been saying to you every night, we're sitting there watching these games, whether we're watching the Eastern Conference on television and texting each other, talking to each other. What do I tell you? I don't trust Milwaukee. I don't trust them with Giannis. So if Giannis is the best player in this series, and he is, with all due respect to Trae Young coming, why would you expect Milwaukee to win without Giannis?
Stay right there, because I'm coming right back to you with a follow-up to that. But Perk, do you agree or disagree with Wilbon on this?
I disagree, and here's why. Because of home court advantage, all right? And the Milwaukee Bucks have the home court advantage. And we all know role players play better at home. And listen, $177 million, $160 million. God damn it, they better get it done. That's Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. They getting paid the big bucks, okay? They have a big three, okay? One of their big three is out. The other two need to step up. And listen, Brook Lopez, I've witnessed him when Giannis has been out. He's been able to give them 20 and 10. Mike Budenholzer is going to have to switch up his offensive game plan and go through Lopez on the low post. I feel like Bobby Portis could give more. I feel like the experience with P.J. Tucker is going to overshadow the youth of the Atlanta Hawks, especially having the home court advantage.
Kendrick Perkins and Wilbon, I'll go to you first with this question. If the Clippers can win without Kawhi Leonard,
no, you know this doesn't work that way. I knew you were going there.
Why can't Milwaukee win without Giannis?
I'm going to ask you a question. So you ask me a question, I'm going to ask you one.
Sure.
You going to make the case to me that the Milwaukee Bucks are as tough physically and as tough-minded as the L.A. Clippers?
No, I will not make that case with you.
There's your answer.
But I will say this. Trae Young is not 100%.
Right.
And I do agree with Perk, with Middleton, even though he's missed the roller coaster in my eyes. 39 one game, 13 the next, 38 the next, or whatever. This roller coaster's still in a home court advantage with those two. And the team as constructed, I do think Milwaukee should be favored to win this series with or without Giannis.
Y'all can talk about should, and by the way, Perk should be flown in if you're Milwaukee, if you're the Bucks. Perk should be flown in to give that assessment that he just gave to their locker room.
Right.
Because Perk can push the buttons that bench is not able to push so far to get them to play that way consistently. I remember being at the Toronto series a couple of years ago. We're talking about the guts of the team. We were there.
I was there with you.
Stephen A., that team is missing something. I'm not entirely certain of what it is. And if they were entirely certain, they would have fixed it. I still don't trust Milwaukee to rally the way you both think. We all three of us think they should. I'm talking about what I see at this point. Atlanta has a belief in itself. The Hawks players do, and that staff. And they have a belief in their staff that, to me, pushes them above the level we think they should be playing as a neophyte team.
I agree with all of that, but I didn't see that when Middleton was smoking them in game 3.
I
didn't see it
every
then.
game, Stephen A.
I understand that.
He ain't that kind of star.
All you got to do is do it 2 of the 3. Do it to game 5, mess up in game 6 like you usually do, and then do it again in game 7. That's not plausible. I think he could do that.
That's cold.
It's true.
It is true, but my point is we can't count on this game after game from that ensemble.
Right. Understood.
I got to see it. It's been 2 years in a row that they didn't do it. Now I'm going to give them a third chance to presume that they're going to get this right.
Well, listen, by the way, when you say it's cold, ain't nothing wrong with me doing something cold when it comes to Milwaukee. It's cold there anyway. That's why they got a petition out not wanting me to come to town because they mad I pointed out the cold weather in that city. Damn it, it's cold in Milwaukee, period. But that's the way it goes.
Turn unclear. Malika Andrews adding Giannis doubtful for Game 5 on Thursday. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. Exciting match, and we've got a lot of news to get to. Stephen A. Max, how we doing, guys? Ready to go?
How y'all doing?
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good. Yes, for sure. I like this time. Let's get right into it. So, Stephen A., with Giannis doubtful, who is the most important player now in this series?
To me, it's Trae Young, and that's assuming he gets back in this series, which I anticipate he will do. He's going to be pivotal because obviously, even without Giannis, if you got Middleton and the rest of the crew, they should be able to beat the Atlanta Hawks. What changes the game is Trae Young, and the fact that you don't have to contend with Giannis should make it even more pivotal for Trae Young to get back because without Giannis, but with Trae Young on the court sparking this offense, he's averaging 32 points in this series on nearly 48% shooting. You get him back on the court with Giannis out, the Atlanta Hawks can take these guys. So I think that with him, it's one thing to do it without him in one game, but that's not something I see continuing as this series progresses. I think it's incredibly important that Trae Young gets back on the court, especially with Giannis hurt, so you can capitalize off of his absence.
Well, and that goes with you saying to start the series, Trae Young was the most important player. I took Giannis, but I'll tell you what, at this moment, not only would I take Middleton as more important for the Bucks even than Trae Young is for the Hawks, I take Drew Holiday as more important. Stephen A., look, Trae Young is very valuable. They won without him, not just because Lou Will was excellent, but because they were sharing the ball in his absence. But you know what, with the Bucks, Middleton plays out of his mind, they win. That goes for every game he plays out of his mind. The Bucks win. But that doesn't always happen. The reason Chris Middleton is not a perennial all-star is because he's not always great. He's sometimes great. He's usually good, sometimes great. So he's usually not an all-star, sometimes he is. He's usually not really able to be a crime partner for an MVP type player, sometimes he is. And when he is, Stephen A., they win. And when he's not, they don't. But you know what? Now without Giannis, that really elevates Drew Holiday even more. Because you know that about Middleton already. Drew Holiday, who can run the pick and roll, who can run an offense, an orchestrated offense, and hit big shots, he's got to step up too. My answer used to be Middleton. We knew that already. It's been Middleton, been said Middleton. Now it's Drew Holiday who must step up for this team and becomes incredibly important for the Bucks.
Well, I'm certainly not proclaiming that Middleton and Drew Holiday's responsibilities and culpabilities don't elevate. Without Giannis, of course it does. I'm simply saying that one of them can give you something. And as the team is constructed, they can still beat the Atlanta Hawks. When I look at the Atlanta Hawks, regardless of what transpired in Game 4, to me it comes down to Trae Young getting back on the court and spearheading this offense. If he's able to do that, particularly creating shots with his teammates, and Lou Williams maintains his level of aggression, Bogdanovich didn't seem hampered by that knee injury in Game 4 as well. I think those kind of things propel them to win this series if Trae Young is on the court and Giannis is not. I think Milwaukee is a better team even without Giannis if those dudes do their job. With Trae Young, I'm saying if you're the Atlanta Hawks, I don't think you have a chance in this series. That's the only reason I name him as more pivotal, because they don't have a chance without Trae Young. Trae Young, to me, getting back on the court is their chance to win this series.
Well, look, injury has decided this whole playoff so far.
Yeah.
From LeBron and AD to KD and to Kyrie and James Harden and on and on. It seems like every series. I mean, even just think about this. No Trae Young, no Giannis. Like, guys are falling like flies. But the point was supposed to be that Giannis had a better crew. Like Giannis and Trae Young, the two best players. But you know who the best player after that is? Middleton. You know who the best player after that is? Drew Holiday. Stephen A., that hasn't always been the case. That's what I'm saying. It has not always been the case.
Hold on.
When it is the case, they win.
I'm confused. You're saying Drew Holiday and Middleton are the best players without Giannis compared to who? The rest of their teammates, or does that include Trae Young?
I'm saying take Trae Young and take Giannis off their teams, right?
Okay.
The reason heading into this series, people like Milwaukee, is because when you looked at the third best player in the series after Giannis and Trae Young, that's Middleton. Who's the fourth best player? Drew Holiday. They haven't always been that. Lou Williams was last time out. Like, they haven't always been. Cam Reddish is playing. Middleton's allowing himself to get shut down by Cam Reddish off an injury. After the way he dropped 38 the night before, they can't do that. They're inconsistent, Stephen A. They got to step up.
Yeah, they're inconsistent. They got to step up. But they ain't more important than the arrival of Trae Young. If Trae Young doesn't come back, they're not winning the series.
Yeah.
I think actually the Bucks still have chances. The Hawks still have chances based on what I just saw with Lou Will.
Yeah, Vegas and BPI both have the Bucks still winning the series. Guys, let's keep it moving, though. We have a Game 6 tonight.